No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. And today we got a man from my neck of the woods, New England Soldiers. Millyz is in the building. How you doing, man?
What's up, man?
Excellent.
Doing good. 617.
That's what Cambridge is?
All
of Cambridge is
Cambridge
617?
and Boston is
Okay.
617.
Excellent.
Yeah.
603, my neck of the woods.
603. I fuck with the 603. I've been to Manchester for plenty of ratchet shows.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like kind of where it's at, right?
Yeah, hell yeah. I used to get booked there because I've been doing this shit for a long time. Like, so
Right.
I used to get booked in Manchester for the most ratchet shows ever.
Really? Yeah, I remember like around the time I left New Hampshire, I realized like, oh fuck, like Hell Rel is playing some clubs in Nashville where
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
from and shit. Like they're a little.
Yeah, I did Nashville, all that.
They had some artists who would come through and play and stuff, and I was kind of I think I was oblivious to it like my whole time living there because we didn't really have the internet.
Where'd you
so-
live at?
Nashville, New Hampshire.
That's where you grew up at?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go into more detail because I'm not going to mean anything to anyone on earth.
Shout out New Hampshire.
For sure. Your name came up because we were sort of having the whole conversation about basically there not being that many white rappers that are taken seriously in a way. And all of a sudden, boom, we're getting blown up. You got to fuck with this guy, Millyz. He's a hard rapper. He's from the streets. He's from Boston. You should know more about him.
Cambridge, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, no, I saw that. And my name, I think I think what y'all were talking about was there's no successful white rapper that has street content, which is a fact. Like there's never been a white rapper that has blown up mainstream with street content in their music. The closest was probably Paul Wall, but he wasn't rapping about he was rapping about like Houston street culture, but he wasn't talking about like, you know, really selling drugs or violence and shit. But to me, he was the closest thing. And then there's a couple out there that exist, but I was looking at him like I'm out here, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm here. I'm getting money for features. I'm doing my thing. I'm outside, so I'm like, come on, y'all got to bring me up in the conversation, man.
Let's go. And here we are.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. All right, so take me back to a little bit of your. Well, actually, no. Before we even do that, though, I do think it's an interesting topic. The whole, you know, just like how white people are perceived in rap. Like it's clearly like just like a kind of different standard. There's like a different way that people are comfortable viewing rappers. Because like there are a lot of popular white rappers at this point in time. It's just they all kind of exist in like a different space. You got like a G-Eazy or a Jack Harlow or a I don't know, even like an Eminem or, you know, there's like a lot of different lanes. But when you think about like a lot of the most popular rap is stuff that is, you know, if you're going to like include all kinds of like street content all the way from like NBA Youngboy to like Griselda, you still don't really see that many white rappers being accepted in terms of like talking about street type stuff. Although like now getting more acquainted to your stuff and seeing how well your content's doing, I mean, you're definitely an exception to that rule.
Yeah, I feel like it's harder. I feel like it's harder to make it as a white rapper, but once you make it through, it's way easier.
Really?
That's when like all the white privilege kicks in and shit like that.
Interesting.
And Target and, you know, the big corporations want to work with you.
Really? So you're looking forward to that?
I don't know if that's gonna happen. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm doing the type of music I'm doing, but
Right.
I've seen it happen with people. Yeah, hell yeah.
Definitely. So you started rap like you've been rapping for a long time because I was watching interview clips of you from like over 10 years ago.
Yeah, hell yeah. No, I'm in my early 30s. I've been fucking rapping since 2008. Like going hard, passing out CDs, doing shows. I hit the ceiling in Boston in probably like 2011. I did Summer Jam because I've been lit where I'm from. I've been lit in my neighborhood. I've been lit in the whole mass. Like I've always been a name. But yeah, it just took a while, and then I moved to New York in 2014. That's when I really started like really pursuing rap purely because it was always kind of like the streets and rap, the streets and rap, the streets and rap. But once I got to New York, I was able to leave a little bit of baggage behind and just purely focus on the music. And yeah, so I would say really 2016 shit started picking up.
Okay, so what was your life like prior to getting into the music game?
Like what part?
I don't know, like when you were real young, like what kind of family upbringing did you have, and were you around a lot of music?
Yeah, hell yeah. It's funny because my father now, he actually lives in New Hampshire, but at the time, like he had like a real like So I lived with my mother, and then I would see my father on the weekends. And my father's house was like real, like it was like a hub for artists. So people would be in there, like real artistic people. A lot of shit was going on. Actually, the singer Wapale lived there. I don't know if you ever heard "Closer to My Dreams." She's like a Bay Area legend.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, his house was crazy. It was a hub for artists. You know, people would be in there playing guitar, going crazy, just loud parties all night type shit. And my mother kind of took me out of that environment at a certain point. She didn't feel like that was like the safest thing for me or whatever. It was just kind of loose over there. And I started living with her full time in this neighborhood called The Coast in Cambridge, which is off of Central Square. And like I was like a normal kid. Besides the fact that I was like the only white kid in my neighborhood, you know, just a normal kid playing basketball and shit like that. And slowly, I was put into special education when I was young for like behavior disorders.
What were you doing? You just fighting?
Yeah, but I just couldn't concentrate on shit. So I would have fights. I just couldn't do school unless I'm interested in it. If I'm interested in the subject like English and shit, I always would pay attention. Anything else, I was just bad. So they took me out the regular classes with 30 kids. They walked me down the hall and put me in a class like way smaller than this room with like 6 other kids and no windows and shit, like when I'm like in 6th grade. So that's like telling me, all right, you're not normal. And then I'm just around all bad kids, so, you know, steel sharpens steel, and we just got progressively worse type shit.
Do you think that you should have been in those classes at all? Like, obviously some people need that special level of assistance, but did you feel like it was just kind of like arbitrary that they put you in there?
I don't know, because I don't know how I would have been if they just put me in regular classes, because that's all I've known since I was 11 is behavior disorder. That's all I've known is like Adderall, and like I got prescribed drugs young, you know what I mean?
Really?
Like, hell yeah. So I was bouncing. So I really don't know, because I know that most of the insane shit that I did came from the people that I was around, because all I'm around is bad kids. Like, as soon as they sat me in that room, I'm around bad kids. You're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, I'm bad, let's be bad together. That's why I had a fast acceleration into the streets. Like, I was really scamming at like 11.
Really?
We had a big scam where I was getting some money. We were scamming a charity and shit. It's fucked up, so I don't want to talk about it like that. But then I started selling weed at like 12, whatever 7th grade is. However old you are in 7th grade, I got it booming.
Really?
But it's because I'm around all these bad kids.
They're putting you on. Like, if you know a kid who's selling weed on the other side of town, it's like, what's going to stop you from being like, I want to make money in my neighborhood or around the people I'm around?
But you want to one-up the people you're around.
Right.
So, you know, that's the cool shit when you're young. Oh, you got a knife? I got a gun. Oh, you got a gun? I got an M16. You know what I mean? It's like, it's that type of mentality. Oh, you sell weed? I sell crack. Like, it's like just seeing how far you could take it. So I feel like just being around that sped environment, but I take sped now, and that was a derogatory word. I take that shit and I make it I've transformed that word into like, yeah, you could be a sped and get money and be successful. I know a lot of millionaires that were in special education.
I had a friend who was in special education, and he ended up going to an Ivy League fucking college.
Right. See, I didn't know that was possible, because I never felt it was possible for me to go to college, because I was like, if I can't be in these classes, if I can't stay in a class with 30 kids, how can I possibly go to college? So I ruled college out when I was 12. College was gone. School was a dub instantly. They let me into Ringe, but I'm telling you, so Ringe is the public school. Okay. Cambridge public school or whatever. But by the time I get in Ringe, I'm already selling weed, and I'm good at it. Like, I'm really good at it. This is like Reggie, like 3 blunts and a dime and shit like that.
But good at it as in like you had your process down. You weren't gonna get caught. You were
I had a whole system. Yeah, hell yeah. I used to wear like tighty whities and shit under my drawers and just put all the bud. Feel me? That's my genius plan right there.
That's smart though.
Yeah, but I went to Ringe, and they let me into the public school. I was still in the special ed classes. They had me like in the basement of the public school. And Ringe is like a high school where all the basketball players came out of. Patrick Ewing came out of there. Cambridge got more basketball players than Boston. They might be mad about that, you know what I mean? But that's a fact.
Right.
So that's like what we do. You either play basketball in Cambridge, or you you know, figure out other shit to do. So I got kicked out of Ringe instantly. Like I came in there selling weed, but then they said I punched the teacher, and then I had to go for the rest of my high school experience. I went to Charlestown.
So you're saying you didn't punch the teacher?
Nah, I didn't.
Really?
I kind of like brushed by him with like my elbow a little bit, and my elbow hit their face a little bit, but I didn't punch him though.
Interesting.
Muy interesante.
Interesting. Their standard for punching a teacher is probably like pretty low. Like you just kind of.
You know what happened? Cause I had fucked this chick, and it was like the next day she wrote me a note, and the note said I'm pregnant, but I didn't know in my brain like it doesn't work like that. So I'm like, damn, she got pregnant overnight. This is crazy. So I was running to go see my man down the hall. And I'm like, yo, bro, I can't believe I got this chick pregnant. And the security, like, teacher person, stop running in the halls. And I just, you know, like one of those. So it was over. And then I went to Charlestown Seaport Academy, which is like, it was way worse than the sped experiences I was having before. Because now I'm in school with like the top-notch speds. I'm in there with 2 kids from Roxbury, 2 kids from Dorchester, 2 kids from like Winchester in these like suburban towns, and they were the craziest. Like these dudes would come to school with like an iron burn. Like the kids from the suburbs were crazy. One came in with an iron burn because he tried to iron his shirt while it was on in the morning. So he had 3rd-degree burns in the shape of an iron.
I thought you were gonna say that his mom fucking like pushed iron into him to torture him or something.
Maybe that happened.
Because that's the most retarded ass shit I ever heard.
No, this is what I'm saying. This is what I grew up around. Like they would take us on like field trips to the aquarium, and I remember this kid. I'm not gonna say his name, from East Boston. He knows who he is. But we came out of the aquarium, and he was laying down on this like steel bench out there or whatever it is, one of those rock benches. And he had put popcorn all over himself, and it was like 70 pigeons just pecking on him. And he was laughing like it was a joke. And I'm like, yo, what type of people am I around?
You're going to get covered in shit doing that.
Yeah, so that was my high school experience. And all of that just led into like street shit because I was like, all right, college is done. That's a wrap. So now what could I do? What's the next logical steps? But I always had rap. I always knew I could rap. So that was kind of like the progression.
But was there a
rap
lot of
and street shit running parallel?
Like, who were you influenced by locally? Because that's kind of like one of the main things with Boston is that, yeah, obviously like tons of people in Boston love rap. There's plenty of rappers in Boston, but it's just not like in comparison to if you were born in Brooklyn or Atlanta or whatever, it's like there's more of a hip hop industry that's like looking for young talent. Whereas like in Boston, it just doesn't feel like there's as much of that since there haven't been as many popular rappers that come out of Boston.
Yeah, I mean, I was inspired by Benzino to a degree. Like I saw him, like I knew, like we have a tournament every year in my neighborhood called Hoops and Health, like a big basketball tournament. And I remember like the Made Men pulling up with like wrapped trucks and shit. Like I never saw a wrapped truck that said Made Men, like shit like that. That's probably the most rap shit that I ever saw. And then I remember seeing Smoke Bulger. I don't know if you heard of him. He's been rapping for a long time. He signed to Rick Ross right now.
Really?
But he was in the Herald. I remember being in my school in Charlestown and like looking in the newspaper and seeing him with the Boston Bruins jersey on with his chains on and shit. And he had got a big deal from Sony. So that like kind of let me know, all right, shit is possible. You know, but I didn't really have no like big aspirations to blow up right there. Like I was just rapping.
And it's not like you had anybody who was like trying to nurture your talent.
Nah, that didn't happen until I went to New York.
Right. Okay. So we're still on the part of your life where you're like getting out of high school or not going to college, right?
Yeah.
And so at that point, like you get into the streets, like I know you probably don't want to get super specific, although it has been a long ass time. Like what can you say about that?
Well, like I came up under a different cloth of dudes. I remember being like 12, right? And I would hang out in this park, maybe 13. I would hang out in this park called Columbia Park. And at the time, I knew this older dude, and he was from the South. His name was YG. Now, at the time, I'm not knowing he's on the run for a murder in Mississippi. But he got gold in his mouth. This is before, like, you could just go on Instagram. How now they could tell exactly how someone's living in Baton Rouge and shit, and you could emulate their whole style. This is when it's just you're in the East Coast, and And that's what you know, like whatever you see in the source or whatever. So I'm directly seeing a real dope boy killer from allegedly, because that's what he's booked for right now. You know what I mean? But innocent.
Who knows?
But yeah. So I'm coming up under kind of like his tutelage, because he would hustle in that park that I was at, Columbia Park, because that like Cambridge in that era, early 2000s, is like it's still a drug zone, but it's gentrified now. But it was like $1 million block that just zombies marching up and down.
Really?
A lot of foot traffic. So he would hang out there, sell his whatever, and I would kind of just, I would run to the store for him if I had to, whatever. But he was just ill. He was super charismatic. He had gold teeth, money busting out his pockets. He would go to the liquor store and buy like Moet instead of like dudes was buying like E&J and Hennessy. He would buy like a bottle of Moet. I was like, oh, he's fucking rich. And I came up like, under people like him. And then I remember like a year or two later, I guess he had to go on the run again, and he got caught in California, but he was on America's Most Wanted. And they showed like the park where we would chill at. Shit like that. So these are like the type of people I came up under. So then I'm like 14, 15, figuring out for myself. And I bump into another older guy from my neighborhood called Beast. And Beast had just came home. He had actually did 2 years for there was 32 dime bags of weed on the floor, and he did 2 years for that.
Really?
In a crowd of 12 people, 32 dime bags, so whatever that equivalates to. But that, when the marijuana laws was terrible, like I can't believe people did time for shit like that. But he had came home on that, but he was a big dope boy too when he came home, and he had heard like from the neighborhood, he was asking around like who could rap, and everybody was like, yo, the white boy, Millyz could rap. Uh-huh. So he would take me to the studio and shit and kind of like just groom my talent. He took me to a studio on Newberry Street, Newberry Street in Boston, like affluent shit. And he'd have me in there, weed, liquor, whatever, put some money in my pocket. And I was under his record label at the time, Block 617, when I'm like 15, 16. But he's the plug. So he's giving me free work too. So now I got an upper advantage, because I started selling crack when I'm like 14. Scared. I just made that transition. Right. But by the time I got with Beast, I'm a little deeper in the game, and it's like he's hitting me with free work. So everything is profit, because he's like, you're my artist here, whatever.
Wow.
And so I was under his wing. He actually took me to the Ozone Awards when I was young in Miami.
What the fuck?
Yeah, hell, you heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was at the Ozone Awards when I'm like 16, 17. So I had like real experiences through these bigger homies kind of that was grooming my talent.
Because like a lot of people are trying to make it out of like, a place like Cambridge or whatever, but they don't like that. They don't even have like a vision of what it would actually be like. But you go to the Ozone Awards, it's like you're just surrounded by greatness and all these people who made millions off this
Hell
shit.
Yeah. I got a mascot right now. Did you see my mascot?
I don't think so.
I got a mascot, like a life-size mascot of me type shit. But I remember seeing Haitian Fresh at the Ozone Awards with the mascot.
Wow.
And so it's like little things like that. But even like, that's why I got my man Haas here right now, because he's younger. I want to show him like aspirational shit, because I saw shit when I was young, like the Ozone Awards that Beast took me to or whatever. And that let me know like, oh, it's a whole big ass world out there. This is when like Plies is lit and shit like that. But yeah, so I was under Beast with Block 617, and he would give me free studio, free work, all of that. And we actually, we caught a case together, me, him, and ES, but me and ES beat our shit, and he pled to what was caught on him or whatever. And then he caught another case, and he caught like another case, but he ended up doing like 12 years and shit.
Wow.
So he's home now. That's still my man. But I had like, after he left, I had to figure it out on myself, and that was the first time like I didn't have any big homie type shit. So now it's just me and a few of my homies, and at the time I got like a spot in Woodrow Wilson. It's like a little projects in my neighborhood or whatever, because I had to connect to get a spot where it was like $300 a month and shit. So now I'm just in the spot with my people, and we got really no guidance at this point. Like there's no big homie. I'm like rapping, but I'm kind of not rapping. We getting into like other shit. We got tension with people. We got issues with people. Shit like that. And that was probably like the most unproductive part of my life. My homies ended up getting a life sentence that I would be with every day off of murder, and just a lot of shit going on, getting shot at, people, a lot of shit,
So
a lot of shit going on.
You basically, like, that time period in your life, you had a bunch of good shit that was kind of going for you for certain periods of time, but then you just kept having, like, you know, basically seeing the downside of that life is like you could get thrown in jail for the rest of your life. You could get a crazy ass case. And
yeah, hell yeah. Like, but like at first it was people taking me under their wing, and then when I wasn't under nobody's wing and I had to figure it out for myself, that's when shit kind of got a little scary.
Right. Because when you have that guidance, it's like you're not going to make as many mistakes, and then all of a sudden, when you're sort of on your own, it's like
I had to figure it out, and we were all young, just trying to figure it out. It would be all 6 of us just like sleeping in Woodrow Wilson every night, doing whatever we doing. And I was active, and we was all active, and that shit led to I couldn't believe it, but that shit led to, you know, my bros getting a life sentence, and they should really be able to flip it because it was more like a self-defense. I don't want to go too much into it, you know what I mean? But they're still down to this day. I got them tatted on my arm, and
Were there times where you thought about quitting, either, you know, trying to make it as a rapper or quitting, trying to make it in the streets?
Yeah, I always didn't. I didn't have like aspirations to make it in the streets, because one thing I understood is you don't get like more than like a 1.5-year run type shit. You get like a year. If you're lucky in the streets, you get like a 3-year run. And I was seeing that everyone was going to jail. Everyone was going to jail around me, and I had cases. I had a cocaine conspiracy charge, beat that, and then I got caught with 14 grams. I got caught with 14 grams of crack or coke, whatever, at the hospital because somebody had got stabbed, and I had drove them to the hospital, and I left the car in the fucking in the tow zone lane, and I'm super bent in the hospital with my friend because it's really not that deep. He was actually trying to like stop somebody. He was trying to stop somebody from doing something, and he got sliced on his hand, so I'm in there with him, and I'm just bent, and I'm in the hospital, and the cops come in, and they're asking me questions and whatever. Long story short, they arrest me for a DUI, but then I didn't know they had the right to search my car because it's called an inventory search.
Wow.
Basically, like, if they tow your car, they have the right to search it just in case you could say, yo, I had $6 million in there. No, they search it to put it on a record or whatever, so they searched the shit out of it, and they found that, so I got charged with like distribution or whatever. But with my lawyer, we busted down to a possession with the DUI and a 2.5-year suspended sentence. So I had that like over my head, so I would be a little easy too. But yeah, that was like the most tumultuous point, and then a lot of shit, bro. I could just go on like I lived a long fucking life, you know what I mean? But I don't know where you want to go from there.
What do you think kept you from ending up doing like a serious amount of time? You feel like does that make you feel like you were meant to be here? That you saw all these people around you get locked up or get killed?
I got iller shit than that. That like I've been through like divine intervention. I don't know if you like believe in God, like, but I've been through like divine intervention, like miracles.
How to explain?
Actual miracles.
Let's
like,
hear one.
I was going to this show one time, and this is right after my homies went down for murder. And I want to say, like, I don't be like, I told this story before on 23 and 1.
Shout out to my boy Josh.
But it's all entertainment. You know what I mean? Just I don't know. This is whatever. This is like I just want to cover myself. You know what I mean? I don't want to.
Right. It's all
This is a long time ago.
This could have
16 years ago. And it's just a story for no jumper. But yeah, we had a show or whatever, and a lot of shit was going on, and I had this little flight jacket, and I had a plan like with the flight jacket. Like if anything goes on in this club, I'm gonna just shoot through the flight jacket. It was like one of the black shits with the orange inside, $20 flight jacket, like that, but the black shit. I had the pistol in my pocket, so it's just going on, and it kind of gets spooky at one point in the club, and this is the first time I ever got in an encounter where I like shot at somebody out of fear or tried. And because somebody broke through the crowd towards me after a little altercation, and it looked like they were It looked like they were up in something, and I backed up. It's the first time I ever dumped out of fear, and I backed up. And mind you, I had a brand new 22 revolver. Perfect. It was perfect. There was nothing wrong with it. I backed up when he broke through the crowd. And click, click, click. And it didn't go off. Big melee. We run to the bathroom and shit. And I'm like, yo, like my people are like, yo, what's going on? I'm like, yo, bro, I swear to God, I try to boom him. Woo, woo, woo. I look in my pocket and I take the gun out, the toy gun out, and it's in like 5 different pieces, and I don't even know how to break a gun down with my hands.
Right.
Like, I don't know how to do that, and it's a new joint that had been tested and all of that. There's no way I could have took it apart in my pocket. The safety pin's out, the barrel's over here. It's in like 4 pieces. I pass a piece to bro, and we walk out of there. And in hindsight, if that gun went off, it was security right there, it was a camera right there, camera right there, camera right there. The detectives was driving by right there. God came and disassembled the gun in my pocket. That's what I believe. Because you can't explain it to me. You can't tell me it was a piece of shit gun because we're running around with this. That never happened, and I don't know how to do that.
That is pretty crazy.
To me, that's divine intervention. That's why I'm like, crosses on my face and shit, like I'm godly. I believe he took me out of that life with that, or he showed me something, and I always go to that. Whenever I'm in any sort of tumultuous situation, I always just remember, like, bro, I'm literally a product of a miracle.
Right. What happened with the guy who was coming towards you?
It was like a melee, and
you know,
I think people on his side was like, you know, oh, you backed up. They might have thought I ran. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what are you thinking about that night when you're laying in bed? You're thinking like,
no, that shit boggled my mind. Yeah, that shit boggled my mind to this day. At first, you know, I'm young and dumb, so I keep trying to tell my people, like, nah, I squeezed, bro. I swear to God, I squeezed, bro. I swear. That's what I was on. But then, like, as I got older, I'm like, damn, that's divine intervention. And there's another situation I would talk about, but it's too, that's too much. But yeah, man, it's just like I just feel like God's strongly in my life, and I feel like that's why, like, I've never I've been able to pursue this rap shit, and I help people out with it. You know what I mean? Like, I help a lot of people around me, and I'm trying to lift as many artists up out of mass as I can. I got a gang full of artists outside that got to meet you after. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like from watching the interviews with you from like 10, 11 years ago, that I just saw.
I wish they would take those offline. Oh God!
I mean, your confidence just feels like it's kind of grown a lot over the years.
Well,
like,
I was scared to speak on like camera and shit like that before, because I always had like a subconscious is the word, right? Yeah, I always had like a subconscious thing about like my voice, because I kind of like grew up in like a neighborhood being the only white kid, but then when I started being in other environments and realizing like, oh, people judge me for how I'm speaking. Then I got self-conscious about my voice, because I was criticized for it, but now I'm just like, fuck it, it is what it is.
You used to have a gnarly-ass Boston accent? Did you?
Nah. We don't have that, like, in our neighborhood.
Really?
That's like in, like, East Cambridge, you get that.
Right.
Yeah, like, Cambridge is broke down, like, it's like, there's the coast, which was, like, a famous, like, black area. That's where, like, Patrick Ewing and, like, the Jarvis families from, like, Mike, like a lot of basketball royalty in the port, like Ramil Robinson. But then you have like East Cambridge, which was like tough Irish kids and tough Italians and Portuguese kids and shit like that. They have that accent.
Right.
So when I'd go to school in like Charlestown, they have that accent.
Right.
The town. But it just depends on the neighborhood that you've grown up in.
Yeah.
Cambridge is 7 minutes from the town.
Right.
Or like from where they shot that movie and shit.
Yeah, because I remember when I first went to New York, when I was maybe like 18, 19, there was definitely a lot of people, like the young ass kids from Brooklyn and shit that we're out riding bikes with. They're looking at me and my fucking accent and the fact that I say wicked and
fucking, you know, wicked, smart,
all
dude.
this shit. They're looking at me like I'm so fucking weird. They're like, where are you from? I'm like, New Hampshire. They're like, They have no idea what that is. I might as well have said fucking
You gotta put
Tennessee,
it on the map,
bro.
man.
They have no idea.
You and Chris Brickley. You know who Chris Brickley is?
No.
He's the #1 basketball trainer in the world. This shit is Chris Brickley, 603.
Really?
He trains James Harden. He trains Durant. He trains all of them.
Wow.
603. You and him doing it fucking big.
And Mandy Moore.
And Mandy Moore. Yeah.
For sure.
Mandy Moore.
Okay, so like, when would you identify as like kind of one of the peak moments for you just taking your rap career more serious? Because it seems like you were steadily just like getting that to that point over like the last decade or so. Like you just kept getting more and more serious. You kept figuring out a little bit more.
Like, really, I could say like a year ago, because how you said figuring it out, I had to just. I figured out like a lot of shit. Before, I used to be like, all right, if I'm really living this music, I don't need the image with it. I don't need the jewelry. I don't need the tattoos, because this is my life. You're going to hear the music and know it's real, but the game doesn't work like that.
That's fair.
And then I had to understand, oh, I'm a visual artist too.
Music videos are insane.
Yeah, music
right
videos,
now.
yeah, because I'm looking at the music and I'm like, damn, I don't look like how I sound type shit. And so, you know, I was always tatted, but I just started giving a fuck and getting more yada and putting some jewels on. So that's came more recently after shit was booming. But I'd say like 2016, I did the BET Cypher, and I got in there the most independent way you could ever get in there. Like, everybody was signed or came through PR. I used to show up at the BET Cypher every year, 2014, 2015, 2016, because I knew a cameraman. And they would tell me the location of this little studio in Brooklyn. So I'd slip in the door, and then I just tell people, yo, if y'all need if you need an extra rapper, I'm here. Like, I'm telling you, I'll flame it. Did that in 2014, sat for 3 days, nothing. 2015 is when Kendrick said the line about I'm the king of New York or whatever.
Right.
And ASAP Mob was there. And I remember ASAP Mob looking at Kendrick and being like, yo, we got smoke, right? Like clowning and shit. Like, but it was like weird little tension shit.
Right.
I was there for that, sat for those 3 days. 2016 I came. And I'm ready to do the process over again. I'm there, I'm telling people, yo, I got bars, I'm telling you. So finally they tell me, yo, somebody didn't show up. You might have a chance. I'm gonna show your link. I'm gonna show your link to Jesse Collins. Jesse Collins is like the big dog at BET. It's Jesse Collins, Yomi, and this other lady, and I forget her name, but she's my angel. And so my man showed my links to them, and I'm watching them like from across the room, and because they're deciding my fate if I rap on the BET Cypher or not, which is like the biggest thing as an MC.
Yeah.
And so he's like, yo, you might want to go over there and just try to extra convince them type shit. And so I ended up, I walked over there and I'm like, yeah, you know, I started giving him my pitch, and Jesse Collins was just like, man, rap, man. Oh shit, everybody's around. It's like 100 people. This is at lunch break in like the cafeteria. I just started rapping. They weren't even looking at me for like the first 4 to 8 bars. On the 8th bar, he kind of looked up. Now, 12th bar, now they all looking at me. 16th bar, now they're giving me a little of this. I ended the shit. They were like, we'll huddle up about it.
Right.
I go back to the table. I'm talking to like the catering people. I'm like, yeah, I did my shit. I did my shit. You know what I mean? I'm hyped. Then I'm waiting. Like 45 minutes later, the lady, I want to say her name is Michelle. She's my angel. I love her to death. She came over and she was like, hey, come here. Walked over to her and she's like, you're in it. We're going to put you in it. I'm like, put me in what? The Cypher? She's like, yeah, we got to sign your paperwork. I don't know if you could wear that NBA jersey. I had like a Celtics jersey on and shit. It's like, I don't give a fuck. Go shirtless, like, don't matter. But, and like, long story short, I got in it and I ended up leading off the BET Cypher. So when the shit aired, I let it off.
Wow.
And then Charlemagne and Envy said I had the best freestyle.
Wow.
You feel me? So that was like a pivotal moment for me, showing whatever I put my mind to, I could do it. It's kind of like No Jumper. Like I knew like I would be here one day. I just put my mind to it and it happened at the right time. Like maybe it wasn't time for me in 2014, 15, but in 2016 I cracked that cipher and that's when I said, oh, I could get recognition for bars? Because at the time it was like a lot of like artsy type rappers and shit. And I feel like rap wasn't like in the forefront like that. But then once I realized I could get recognition for bars, because labels shitted on me my whole life, like still to this day. Like I get like one-off bags and like now it's like I can force certain independent labels to give me money because I have accolades and shit and I have a following. But I always have been shit on and I realized after the BT Cypher with social media, like, oh, I could just run my following up off of rapping. And that's what changed everything really. And like, so the moment that I felt like really made me say, oh no, I can make it in rap was 2016, the BT Cypher. But then I kept learning myself. And then 2018, that's when I took like my destiny into my own hands and I started just like putting out freestyles. And along that time, I linked with Kiss and now we here.
That BET story, that's gotta be one of the best stories I ever heard on this podcast in terms of like representing that like never give up mentality that you really need if you want to make it, not just as a rapper, but doing anything.
I rapped with my voice cracking the whole time.
Really?
Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm nervous as fuck. It's mad people in here. It's artists, bro. I'm there with everybody. I was there while Russ was pacing back and forth, remembering his raps, Young M.A. Everybody's there. Hey, Boogie and them is right there at the table. My voice is cracking and shit, but you gotta go for your shit, man. Fuck that!
No, that's hard. That's fucking fire, man. That's crazy that actually worked out. Because if somebody were to tell me that they were planning on doing that, I would probably be like, bro, that's a crazy ass idea. That ain't gonna work. Ain't nobody gonna pay attention to you at the fucking BET Cypher when there's all like verified rappers.
Yeah,
like,
everyone's verified.
What's it gonna take for somebody to pay attention to you in that environment? That's tough.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
Everyone, yeah, man. So that's like really, like I grinded from the bottom with this shit, bro. I got I ain't gonna say I got a million of those stories, but I really grinded from the bottom with this shit. And there's never been a handout in this shit. If anything, it's the opposite.
Well, because I watched an interview that you did with Rosenberg like a few years ago, and you were saying, you're like, you know, I'm the type of person, like I'll go to a show that I know you're hosting just so that I can meet you, say hi, shake your hand, and then I'll probably just be out of the show. Like I'll pull up just to try to meet and just make any kind of little connection.
I did that the whole New York, cause so like I said, I moved to New York. I moved to the Bronx, fucking roach infested apartment, $1,100 a month. I was taking the China bus back and forth, $15. Like I was really getting it how I live, cause I stopped hustling, cause I had to take a step back from music, just to purely focus on it. But the shit was crushing my ego. I was taking the train. I had to learn the New York train system, and I had met Kiss around this time.
Yeah, how'd you meet him?
I met him through Set Free. So Set Free's who really got me. Set Free owns the Compound and he created N1 mixtapes. Oh, wow. He created all of that shit. That's his vision. Set Free paired Magnum condoms with XXL. He's like an ill marketing dude and shit. Oh, wow. But he had heard me off of some like World Star shit that I was on. And he convinced me to move to New York. But I moved down there, but I still found myself like having to create my own network and shit like that. But I would have nothing to do. I'd be in the house and I'd be like, damn, I gotta take the train. So if after Set Free introduced me to Kiss, we did a song. I paid him for a feature. But then I wanted to like keep growing the relationship. So I would see Kiss get posted on like this is when Lust and Starlets is popping, like boom, and like Bernice Burgos is at Starlets and shit. So you would just
pull up so that you could just be somebody that he was getting used to seeing.
Yeah, I wouldn't even pull up. I would walk up. From the train, you know what I mean? I would take the train and walk a mile. I feel like I would take the train, get confused, miss stops and shit, get off in Astoria, wherever it was at, and walk a mile and get into the club, and I'd be the only white boy in there, just me and my fucking knife and a stripper I knew. And I remember one time I walked to around where the VIP section was, and I'm talking to the stripper I know. And she taps me and she's like, yo, in VIP, he's calling you. And it was Kiss, and he was on the couch like, yo, come in here. So I'm like, all right. Yeah, yo, come in. So I'm like, all right, bitch, I'm out of here. And I walked to the VIP section, and the bouncer tried to shut me down, and Kiss stood up on the couch and he was like, "Hey, yo, let him in. What's wrong with you?" I looked at everybody like, "Fuck is wrong with y'all? I'm in here."
You got to play in. You got to live up to
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm
You do
Jadakiss's
know who I
friend.
am, stupid. And then like years later, like, but I did that a lot with whoever. Like I done been in like Lust to like meet like Mano and shit like that. He might have not knew, but I was connected when I went out to New York because I met like some good people, some street guys like off rip. Like shout out to the 50-50 movement. You know what I mean? And a lot of people in the city. So I was making my rounds and shit. But yeah, I'd pull up on whoever, however, whenever, because I just had to make that network, bro. It was all in. Like, I only had negativity waiting for me at home. So it was like, all right, I'm out here. What am I going to do? I got to do some hip hop shit. So I'd pull up on like a Rosenberg and he'd be like, "Oh, yeah, what up?" And then like forget who I am a million times.
But you do that a couple times.
Yeah.
They're going to start remembering.
Yeah, you got to
know?
pull up in the
Yeah.
physical. That's why I don't even, when people want to get next to, I just like, when people want to get with me and they're trying to hit me on the phone, bro, just get with me. Figure it out. Get with me. But yeah, bro, I got that type of hustle.
Yeah, no, I think that's like the most important thing I could imagine in terms of an artist being willing to make it, because now everybody wants to just do some shit online to get a name for themselves. Like they think that they're just gonna like do shit on Instagram until people recognize them, and they don't realize that being around people and having people actually fuck with you and think you're cool,
human interaction is
that's
different.
gonna take you so far.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
Hell yeah. But I mean, I feel like you could still blow on the internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that human interaction will take you further.
Definitely. That's dope though that you kind of realized that rapping well was gonna help you gain a real following.
Yeah, I saw the reaction to it. Like, I think I did a freestyle and Kiss posted it, and that shit got 100,000 or 200,000 views on Instagram. And at the time, I'm like, yo, that's crazy. And then Flex, we did Flex off of that. Like Flex saw that, and then I got to do Flex, and then Flex took it to another level. And I said, oh, this rapping shit is how I'm gonna cultivate my fans, because I'm a way bigger artist than just like a high level rapper. High level rap, I'm very prideful about that. I do that. I could do it with the best of them. I'm on Jadakiss's album, like me as a 16. You feel me? And he's the best. So it's like, I'm very proud of that, but I'm way bigger than just like a high level rapper. Like I make music, I sing, I make pain. My shit is, I can make records for the club. My biggest records are over trap shit, like just as far as like streaming wise. So, but I learned that like the high level rap, that's what's gonna attract people to me.
Right.
And that's how I could do it, because the labels don't give me nothing. Like I don't have no external push.
Right.
And I didn't have no money this whole time.
Yeah.
No money. The whole 10 years, like if I'm being honest, the whole 10 years, I never had more than $4,000. Because everything I fucking had, I might have made it look good, but everything I had, I put it back out. I never had more than $4,000. I got $15,000 on me now, casual.
That's real.
But people don't know how to just, you know what I mean? I'm only saying that because it's people don't know how to just struggle for this dream for a second. Like everybody want to be super lit off top.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, it just ain't how it goes. But how did you actually get signed by Kiss? Like, how did that become a conversation? And were you the first artist you ever signed?
Nah, Nino Man.
Okay.
Nino Man. You heard of Nino Man?
No.
Fire.
Really? Okay.
Hell yeah.
He's from New York?
Fire. From Harlem.
Okay.
He was on stage at the Versus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does this conversation start playing out about you working with him on that level?
So Ice Pick J, who was like, that's Kiss's big homie. Like Kiss named his last album Ignatius. That's after Ice Pick J.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I remember him talking about that. Yeah.
So Ice Pick J heard me on a singing record, and he just told Free, yo, play me another one of his singing shits. Play me another one of his singing shits. And then he was like, yo, he's it. He's really him. And he took me to Kiss and was like, yo, what do you think about Millyz? Like, Kiss, all right, fuck it, let's do it. You know what I mean? One of those. So, and that's how that went. So it really went through Ice Pick J type shit. And then, but I was already like kind of like family with Kiss, but then he really threw the cosign on me.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing that is kind of crazy. Like, you seem like you just really formed a lot of like very real relationships with a bunch of respected dudes. Because I'm watching this interview with you and Dave East, And it's like, I'm kind of thinking in my head, like, I don't know if I ever seen like a popular black rapper co-sign a white rapper this hard. Like this, like where you guys are really like friends and talking about going on trips together. And
It's my dog.
I'm like,
yeah.
damn, like, I mean, you really have like made a fucking amazing impression on a lot of the more powerful or respected people in the game.
Bro, I'm like legendary, bro.
You kind of are, yeah.
I'm telling you, like, if you really, the truth is far more sinister, is what I tell people. Like, if you really know, from the outside, it might look, I get it, because there's no, the only narrative, people in America only want the narrative that they know. They want the shit that confirms what they already think. Like, that's what they search for. They don't want the truth. They want whatever confirms their narrative that they already believe in. And there's no narrative about white boys hustling or doing anything in the streets, even though there's like a movie like The Town and shit. That's white boys doing street
But it
shit.
ain't hip hop.
But it's not hip hop. The closest we have is Tommy Egan on Power.
Okay.
Did you watch that show? Do you know
no.
who Tommy is?
No.
I talk about him all the time in my songs because I got a bar. I said I watch Power and I overwhelmingly relate to Tommy because that's the only depiction of a tough white boy that interacts in a world, a hip hop world or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? So people can't understand this shit because there's no point of reference for it. I'm the first.
Right. And Boston, even if it was just that, it's like people aren't used to seeing rappers come up out of Boston.
Cambridge, though, bro.
Cambridge,
we got to
sorry,
say
yeah.
Mass. This is what I do, though, because I'm not going to lie. Like, I love Boston. I'm born there. I went to school there. I have influence there. But I'm from Cambridge. It's a different city. Like, and Massachusetts as a whole is like a different play to me. And that's what I want to push as far as like the movement. Because when I think of Mass and the lit shit, I think of like, you know, we got Lawrence, Lynn, Worcester, Springfield, Lowell. Like, we have these thorough communities, and motherfuckers are getting a lot of money, and you know what I mean? It's all on brand. It looks.
You want to stand for?
Yeah, I want to stand for Mass. I got Mass tatted on my fucking head. So it's like, yeah, Massachusetts, that's the movement, because Boston has such a big brand on it already. When you think Boston, you think racist, Celtics fans.
Right.
And Massachusetts doesn't come with that connotation. So I'm out here, yo, I'm from Mass, bro.
Right.
Because what do they do in Virginia? Like, when you meet someone from Virginia, from Mississippi, from Alabama, they don't go, yo, I'm from Birmingham. They be like, yo, I'm from Alabama. Yo, I'm from. So we got to just run with it like that, because the brand, it's kind of like the brand of Cambridge. That's Harvard. So Harvard is telling you they're putting billions of dollars over the years into their PR campaigns to get people to come, but they don't ever have the time to say, oh yeah, there's also 14 housing projects in the city of Cambridge.
Right.
And people are living below the poverty line. So the brand of Cambridge will forever be that. Can't change that. The brand of Boston will forever be that. No matter what happens, every time a player gets traded to the Celtics, they put the KKK memes in the... So it's like, that's a thing. Now, that could possibly be broken, but I feel like we got to come with it as the Mass movement, because Mass got a lot of talent.
Right.
And then even break it down within Boston to the Dorchesters and the Roxburys and the Mattapans. Make people really understand this shit, because Boston has been pushed as a brand that it's just white boys in Faneuil Hall, but that's a false narrative. Or that it's just South Boston and shit like that.
Right. Did you... Because that is kind of part of the reputation of people from Boston, Cambridge, et cetera, that there's a lot of racism there. You grow up around a lot of that, and at some point have to, like, you know, unlearn that or realize that you grew up with some fucked up ideas being presented to you?
So I'm from Cambridge.
Right.
That's like the most liberal city on the planet.
It's true.
So, like, when I'm 5, going on play dates with my friends, like, my mother never said, oh yeah, by the way, these are some black kids you're about to go see. I didn't know. I really didn't get the whole race thing until later on, when other kids from like other schools, like if we had to, like I probably did some sort of basketball leagues and people, you talk like you black, like shit like that. Like, I didn't really get that, but yeah, I never came up with that. But yeah, like there was a racist part of Cambridge.
Right.
There was definitely a racist part of Cambridge, East Cambridge.
Right.
They was on that racist shit. Like, sometimes they would, like, dudes would drive by, like, and people gonna be mad, but suck my dick. people would drive by and be like, N-word lover. Shit like that. Like they would see me in the park. Yeah, I get the N-word lover. Shit like that.
How'd you feel about that?
And we would
like,
clash with them. I didn't know. I'm like, bro, I'm just here. It's the same way I feel when people diss me on the internet and go, you want to be black? I'm just here with the motherfuckers I grew up with, bro. What you want me to do, man?
Right. Yeah, I can't help what I'm into. I can't help what I'm around.
Yo, isn't there some shit like if you raise a baby with wolves, it's gonna think it's a dog? Some shit like that.
Fuck. You used to say N-word? Never?
Never. You know why? I ain't gonna lie. Probably in fifth grade, probably like I was with my man ES and I tried to fake experiment with it over a song, like the song lyrics was playing. And he just checked me, like, even though I'm just rapping my favorite lyrics and shit, he was like, yo, don't be saying that shit. This is my man. Like, and I'm like,
that's good.
And I'm like, the fact that he checked me and he's the most laid back person in the world. And so I learned to even edit it out of songs that I like.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because there's a lot of white kids who grow up around a bunch of dudes.
No, I know hood white kids, though,
and
they say that and they let that shit fly.
And they think it's totally fine, but then they start to get some degree of notoriety, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, the rest of the world doesn't care about these 5 black dudes who are cool with me saying it. Fuck.
Yeah. But that's what I realized from that. I said, damn, if my bro will check me on that, that means I'm going to have confrontations. And I was already having confrontations because I didn't look tough. Like I just like you know, there's some white boys that look tough, like Russians and shit like that. I just didn't have the tough look, like a blonde hair, blue eyes. People was already setting it on me for no reason. I had to fight a lot, and I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna make it more fights for myself because because I'm trying to say this word. So I deaded that at like 10 years old, and I decided I'm not even saying that shit in the capacity of rap lyrics. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah, I would feel uncomfortable even saying it by myself in the car, so definitely saying it around like other humans would probably be really weird.
Yeah, facts.
Definitely. Yeah, it's crazy how much like you in the old interview shit I see to you, you definitely like just gave off way less of like a tough, confident vibe. But it's so interesting to see how somebody could just through having more and more life experience just sort of like gain more of that demeanor of like confidence that you sort of project now. That's good. Fuck. Also, yeah, did you lose?
Can I smoke the cigarette?
Of course. You got another one?
Somebody got a lighter?
You got another one?
Lighter.
What is that, Newport?
Yeah.
Looks like you had it behind your ear for a while.
Top lit eye.
You got another one?
This is yo.
You came here with a single Newport?
We got him in the car.
All right, that's cool.
We get you one.
I get one out there.
Somebody get Adam a Newport. What are we doing here?
You had one song where you, I just heard you say something about like, I dedicated my whole fucking life to this and I still ain't made it. And I just like
listening to my shit.
Yeah. What do you think I'm doing here?
I appreciate you, bro.
No doubt.
I just thought you was gonna be like a little like
just look for some beef.
Taking the interview.
Yeah. Nah. I do as much digging as I can.
That's
the
fire.
schedule can be tight sometimes.
Damn, I forget what song that was, but yeah.
It was like you walking up the stairs as you said that. But I was just really thinking about that, and I'm like, there must have been so many moments of like pure frustration that you have to get past when you feel like I've just given so much of myself. And like, you know, you're in so much more of a better place now than you were 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, but you still have to fight against that
you gotta
feeling
fight every day, bro. And I gotta fight rejection, bro. I still face that shit. Like I faced a lot of rejection just in my life in general. A lot of rejection. I feel like I went through more rejection than the average human goes through in their whole lifetime in like a year of my life. Easy.
Really?
Easy. Because I put myself out there. So, yeah, you can just fight through that shit.
You just have to get used to it. That's a big part of it. You have to get used to 100 people saying no just for one person to say yes.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, 100%. But what do you like? Have there been moments that were like really hard for you to just keep going in terms of chasing this path? Like, was there ever moments where you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna work at the mall. I can't do it. Like, or I'm gonna go back to the streets and just totally forget about this.
I was gonna trap because honestly, like, even when my mother made me get jobs, and when I got jobs, like, I had to like quit one because I got shot at, and they found out about it. It was a city job that I had got through like a job program.
You got shot at while on the job?
Nah, it was at my house. But they
got fired because of that?
it was through like the city, so they was like, yeah, you got shit going on, like.
Oh wow.
So I didn't return to work after that, and then I had another job, and dudes ran down on me, like it was in like an opposition neighborhood. Like I would work jobs just to make my mom happy, and I would put my life at risk. Like I'd have to go to work with the pistol on me just so I could be like, look, Mom, I'm working.
Right.
So like when you build up a certain level of baggage in the streets, you can't go to work no more. That's the fucked up shit with like the young kids running around drilling. Like if you ever want to square up, it's hard because dudes don't want to let a lot of shit go. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I never thought about like quitting and like working at the mall. But I definitely
quit and get a brick.
Yeah, I was confused at one point in 2011. I had a release party for my album, and my man Rock Ducati was there, and that was like another one of my big homies. And he had I had met him like a couple years prior, but he just believed in me with music. So he really put a battery in my back, like musically and shit. And Rock was at my party, and like we had like one of the greatest nights ever. And as I walked, we walked outside from the club, and it was like, you know, a lot of shots went off and shit, and he passed that night. So like that was like an extreme high from music, where it's like I'm doing this positive shit, and then walking out the club, all of that ended, you know what I mean? And it was like one of my lowest lows type shit. So that kind of made me like, I don't know exactly what, I always associated music with something positive, but this was the first time that I had doubt, because I'm like, damn, how could something so positive essentially bring something so negative? So I would say, I don't know if I felt like quitting. Around that time, I tried to start experimenting with more like different types of music and shit. Not like, I mean, rap shit, you know what I mean? But I was like, let me just try to make this mainstream white boy music so I could get rich and get my homies out of the hood. And like, that's where my mind was. Like, I was just kind of thrown on shit. But then, you know what I mean? I shook back. But yeah, I would say that was probably one of the rougher times. And then, yeah, I don't know. I've had moments where I'd be like, fuck this shit.
But I get frustrated because at certain points it's like I'm just putting money into this shit and not really getting that much back from it.
Yeah. And it's crazy when you know you're better than dudes. Like I know I'm making better songs than dudes, and I know, and I always had a core fan base. I always had people who told me, yo, your music made me not commit suicide. Like I always had that shit. Your music helped me through the toughest time in my life. I always had that shit. Always. Super core fan base. So I knew like the caliber of my music, but it's just frustrating. Like, damn, I can't crack. Like the industry don't even believe in this shit because they've never seen it, and it's a cookie cutter industry. They don't know how to work this shit. That's what I would get told. Like they don't know how to work me. You know what I mean? So I work my fucking self, and I'm independent.
Yeah. You thought about signing, or is it just never really sitting the feeling?
Not now. Yeah, hell yeah. I would have probably signed for $20,000 at one point just to say I signed. Not now, ever.
Definitely. Do you feel like getting that proximity?
Let me not say ever, because there's, you know, that bag.
Right. But do you think, did the Kiss thing mean a lot to you? Like, look at this, like a fucking absolute, without question, legend in hip hop believes in me enough to get behind me like that. I mean, that's a big cosign. That feel like you made it to a certain extent? Because what can you really tell me if you just like some guy on the block in Cambridge? What the fuck can you tell me? Jadakiss signed me. Like, Jadakiss believes in me. So what the fuck does your opinion possibly mean to me?
Right.
I mean, there had to be a bit of that, right?
Yeah, there's definitely big validation points like through the course of this shit. I just wanted it to be validated in money at one point. This year I started getting 10, 15 bands for the feature. Ding, 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 ding,
Really?
ding, 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 ding. And then I said, I'm fucking validated. Like by the money.
Right.
You know? As far as like, so like within the art form, I always felt like, yeah, I'm doing great, but I never felt like I could say like, yo, I fucking made it. You know what I'm saying? I caught 2 checks this year. Like I got the Blanco. I did the album with East End. I got the Blanco 4 project. So it's like this year, everything. It felt like all the hard work over 10, 11 years, it got paid back this year.
Right.
Paid in full. You know what I mean?
What would you do to celebrate, if anything? You buy yourself anything or you go out
I
anywhere?
don't really celebrate, bro. I'm like work oriented. The only way I could celebrate is in like a work capacity. Like I was like, if I go down to like Atlanta and like fuck around in a strip club or some shit, like, but it's still the work capacity because they're playing my records. But I don't celebrate like.
Definitely.
But I went to Tulum. I went to Tulum 3 times this year. So.
Wow, 3 times in a year, huh?
Yeah, so that's, I guess, a little celebration.
I went there like immediately before the pandemic hit.
For real?
Yeah, it was like the last thing we did before the pandemic took over. Actually, no, it was New Year's, so it was like a month or 2 before. But Tulum's amazing. I can't complain. I know it's supposed to be like kind of blown out and trendy at this point, but I'm like,
fire.
it's amazing, and it's not that far away. They don't want to hear us talk about Tulum. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that you've probably seen a gigantic percentage of the people that you went to high school with dead off fucking fentanyl and heroin over the past however many years. Does that? Sometimes I think about that, and that makes me feel like a little bit more kind of shocked that I made it to the point that I made it to when I think about how bad the situation has been for a shitload of the people that I grew up around. And I'm sure it's not even just that. I mean, you've seen a million people get shot, all kinds of other, and that's the people who are dead. I mean, there's a lot of people who are alive that
Yeah, it's nasty.
kind of probably just as bad. Do you ever think about that, or like just the carnage where you grew up?
Yeah, it's crazy. I really saw it more like in like the like when I was growing up, those like, damn, how could I say it? When I was growing up, I'd be around a certain caliber of these white boys who were tough, like tougher than any white boy on the planet. Like real, like the kids I went to school with, like from Southie, like from Oak Colony projects and shit like that. Like real tough fucking white boys from the projects. And I remember seeing one of them like in my senior year, and he came in and I hadn't seen him for a while, but he was weak. He was a little blue in the face, and he asked me to open a Now and Later for him. We physically couldn't open a Now and Later. And this is somebody I know who, for being super charismatic, strong, talk shit all the time, and for him to humble himself down to ask me, someone he talks shit to all the time, like in jest, you know what I mean? But to ask me to open a Now and Later for him, that's the first time I said, oh, them drugs are all bad. And now I see a lot of that. Like I see a lot of like tough white boys that's gone. But all cultures though, you know what I'm saying? All cultures, but I really seen that shit hit hard in like, you know, Boston and the surrounding areas, so.
Yeah, no.
It's nasty.
That's when it'll really hit you, when there's a dude that you think of as like a hard dude who, you know, you're intimidated by or whatever, and then at a certain point you're just like, oh damn, you're a junkie now? Like you really like on this? Like, I don't know. That's when you sort of realize like, damn, this shit could happen to anybody. Because when you're young, you look at crackheads or people who are off heroin and shit, and you're like, you can't, you know, for me at least, it was hard to understand how a normal person got to that point. It feels like these people just were always like that. And once you really start seeing it happen to like your peers, it'll change your whole fucking viewpoint.
Yeah, nah, that's a fact. It's nasty.
What's it like style wise? You know, it feels like you have, you know, you have like this sort of like lyrical style that you are sort of committed to, but then I do see you like jumping around and doing stuff like doing drill type records with Sosa Geek and shit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Does that feel like a
Sosa geeking?
Is that a primarily like different experience making that kind of song? But also when I'm listening to that, I'm like,
Sound good on
I
it,
was
right?
clicking on it. Yeah, I was clicking on it to hear. I was like, oh my god, is he gonna be doing a goofy ass drill flow? And then I felt like
bro.
you stayed true to yourself
Yeah,
on it. And I'm
bro.
like, all right,
Whatever I
it.
do, I put the high level rap element in there. But I'm telling you, I'm wild versatile, bro. I could do any type of music. So like that was, I wanted to get Sosa because I had already knew Sosa before Big Trip. I fell in love with the lit Sosa.
Right.
Before all of that shit. I knew him. Yeah,
okay.
I knew him. So when I wanted to do some drill shit, I'm like, I gotta call somebody from Brooklyn that I know to do it. You know what I mean? But I could get off on anything, bro. You hear my shit with Asian Dog?
I did. Because I was wondering why is Asian Doll in this Jim Jones video that you had, and then I'm like, oh, there's another video with Asian
Plugged in
Doll.
with her, all that.
How'd you meet her?
I met her. I met her in Atlanta, and we were in like a strip club, and we left and we were gonna go to another spot. She was with somebody I know or whatever. So we were all gonna go to the other spot. I had the Rolls Royce Cullinan and shit with the stars of the truck. We all get in the car or whatever, and then shots start going off. Doo, 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 doo. Machine gun fire. It's like in the background and shit. But my man taps on the window and he's like, yo, Millyz, get out the car, get down, get down. I'm kind of drunk. I'm like, man, that's just far away, bro. We good, bro. But he's like, get the fuck down. So I get out the car, I go to get down and shit. But before I like look over in the passenger seat, and like Asian Doll is like in the, what's the shit called? The mirror right here. Mm-hmm. She's in the mirror like doing her makeup or fixing her lip gloss, and the shots are going off.
It's just normal for her.
I swear to God, I said, oh, she's a real thug. She's looking in the mirror and she's doing her makeup or her lip gloss or something super unfazed, and it's like, boo, 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 boo. Just doing her shit. I'm like, yo, come on, get low. And then the shots stopped and shit. I got back in the car. I'm like, yo, you crazy? She's like, no, they just shooting for nothing. Some shit like that. We went to the after hours spot and shit. I met Quavo. It was cool.
You learn a lot about people when there's like
high pressure
going
situations,
off. Just gunshots in general. Because like I've been in that situation where there's like a shooting outside this like store party type thing, and they start shooting, but they're shooting on the sidewalk outside. They're not shooting into the store. They're shooting at each other out there. But everybody starts diving. I dive too, because I'm not even thinking. I ain't really been around this many shootouts, so I dive to the side too. And then I look up and I see some dudes I know, and they're just like standing up, looking over, trying to see what's going on. And I'm like,
figure it out.
I'm like, that is a more reasonable response, because it wasn't like people were shooting into the store.
You gotta know, if you've been around gunfire, you know where that shit's coming from too, a little bit. Like,
yeah,
you can still get hit on some stray shit, but I feel like you're gonna know how far that shit is away from you a little bit.
Right.
To overreact or not overreact.
Makes sense
I just
to
be
me.
Feeling protected by God too. Like,
yeah,
I don't really bug out.
That's good. What do you have a relationship with Jim Jones, or how did that one come about? Because I feel like that's one of the hardest records, and that's the one we saw in Stream, which I think is how I first seen you. Yeah,
hell yeah,
that was a hard Jim Jones verse too. That
what
made
do you
me
mean
want
you
to
saw
go.
it on Stream?
The streams that we do on Fridays, where we listen to people's music.
Oh, they played it?
Yeah, we played it.
That's hard.
Yeah. That actually really made me want to go listen to the last couple Jim Jones records, or like
he's
albums
fire.
too.
No, Jones one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Jones one of my favorite. Like, just coming up, I always liked Jones's like lyrical ability. Before people were saying he's lyrical. Like I always liked his flow patterns and shit. So that was dope to get on it with him.
He's aged very well, and I honestly, because I used to listen to a lot of them in like 2003, 2004. I feel like he's way better now.
Nah, he's getting better. Yeah. I love his old music though, but yeah, he's getting better now. Like just on some like high level rap shit, he's getting better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Facts.
Definitely.
But that shit, we put that together. I just bumped into him a lot. We put that shit together, and then we shot the video in Harlem. That was dope. Asian Doll was out there.
Right.
D from Rough Riders was out there. Shit like that.
For sure. What about the G Herbo thing? Where'd that come from?
Herbo posted my my bars on 9-5 freestyle.
Oh, wow.
But I went on tour with Herbo in 2016.
Oh, wow.
On the Smokers Club tour.
Oh.
So I had known him a little bit.
Shout out Johnny Shipes.
Yeah, shout out Johnny Shipes.
That's the hardest white boy in the game, actually, now that we're on the topic, yeah.
And then I met him, so I used to open for him on that tour for probably like 4 or 5 dates or some shit. But then like recently, I think Kiss had posted my bars on 9-5 freestyle, and Herbo just out of the cut just took my shit, and people started hitting me like, yo, you see Herbo reposted your shit? And he put something like, I love rap, bro. He was hype off the shit. He was like, I love rap, and he was tagging me and shit. And I was like, word is lit. And I just knew, like, all right, he gonna do a feature for me. I hit him up and he did it, and he kept it super solid. Even just now when we just dropped this shit, I hit him and I'm like, cause yo, I don't expect nothing from nobody. I don't expect nothing from you, nobody. Because it's like no one owes you nothing in life. You know what I mean? So I hit him and I was like, yeah, I'm about to drop it at 12:30. He hit me back like PM, Eastern time type shit. I'm like, yeah, I sent him the clip and he threw the shit right up with me. That shit got like 1 million on his gram, and that record's going crazy. That's my fastest moving video. It's had a quarter million. Yeah, it's at 500,000 in like 6 days. So,
wow,
hell yeah, shout out Herbo.
That's dope.
And he's just good for the culture in general. Like, Cause the kids like him.
Hell yeah.
He's tied to like the whole Juice WRLD shit and all of that. So he gets all of that audience, and then he shows them, y'all know what's cool? Rapping. Rapping, being able to rap. So more kids are gonna grow up being Herbo fans. And then I told him this shit, like he's gonna influence like a generation like below him to actually want to rap.
He's one of the best.
Yeah, he's fucking incredible.
Super influential on like
Hell yeah.
all these like kids who are fans of like drill music and shit like that. I feel like they look at Herbo as like a god. Like he's somebody who transcended that and came up with his own style that's still in that, but he's got his own.
And he's
fucking
still
style.
young, and he goes like even on that record, like he know I'm saying crazy shit on that record. I said double up my dollars, must acknowledge I'm an 8 series swerver. The 40 turned him to a vegetable. That's basically murder. I got bars in there like flex style bars, and he's gone on like Everybody I lock in with, though, that's one thing I could say. Nobody plays with me on the features. Like, everybody goes for the juggler pause.
Nobody wants to look bad.
Yeah, like, everybody's going to rap when they get on my songs. Benny gave me one of the craziest Benny verses ever. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Definitely. Fuck, yeah. So, what are you planning at this point? What's up next? You've done a lot, but I know you still got a lot more ground you want to cover.
Yeah, I plan to I just want to get to a position where like I could put other artists on. I want to be able to start my own label and really like pull up some artists from Massachusetts and come through with a wave of artists. I want to pop on a high level and then bring some artists behind me and shit. You know what I mean? That's actually what like we never talked about it, but like when I was running around with Shotty would always tell me like, yo, bro, Massachusetts is it, bro. It's untapped, bro. You could be the one to pull everybody up. He kind of put that battery in my back to be like, yeah, I could do that. Like, and so that's one of the goals I got. You know what I mean?
How did you meet Shotty?
I met Shotty in a clothing store in Manhattan, and he had like seen me on the internet or some shit, and he was like, yo, we got the video tonight with 50 Cent, the Get the Strap shit. He was like, pull up. That's the video they say got shot up or whatever.
You were at that shit?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like I pulled up on him, and then we were just cool ever since after that.
Wow. That's legendary. Yeah, you know, Shotty DM'd me like a week before the Fed case. I always kind of regret that I didn't get that interview in.
Shit, I talked to him 2 hours before. Yeah, he'll be out. Hell yeah, stand-up guy. He could look himself in the mirror.
Yeah, that's facts. But okay, you got anything in particular that you want the people to look out for? Anything that you're excited
Blanco
about?
4. When's this interview dropping?
Probably next week.
So like after the 20th?
Around then, maybe a little before then, or a little after.
Blanco 4, man. Blanco Cuatro featuring Herbo, Benny the Butcher, Jadakiss, Asian Doll, Dada the Dealer, Y Jizzle, 8-Zip, Jazzy Amra, all produced by Ray Beats. Shout out my video guy, Tinge. We going crazy, man. Great body of work, and I'm gonna just keep dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping.
I like that you're so motivated to be, you know, to really do it for Massachusetts and your city.
We have to, bro. It's like super untapped.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, I think it's honestly kind of like the way that Sosa came out and just completely like changed the way that people thought of Chicago. Boston only needs one person to blow up out of there to really motivate the whole fucking entirety of it.
But we got people like, but it's Mass though. That's another thing. Joyner Lucas is from Mass.
This is a good point. Joyner Lucas.
Bia is from Mass. Millyz is from Mass. See what I'm saying? And then there's a slew of other artists.
Adam 22 is from 5 minutes across
He's
the border.
He's from fucking New Hampshire, kid.
Gate City, bitch.
Bitch. Ah.
You come to the Pheasant Mall when you don't want to pay taxes on your TV or your
Pheasant Mall.
Or your Abercrombie purchase.
Yo,
whatever.
the Pheasant Mall sounds crazy.
Tingsboro movie theater right there.
That's
you
hard.
should sneak in through the back. Nashville, New Hampshire, most populated city in America without a movie theater. Because everybody goes right to Tingsboro and hits it right over the border.
Talk your shit, man. Tingsboro.
Very important that the people know. That's real.
Hell yeah.
Anybody you want to shout out? Anyone you want to
Man, I really want to shout out all the artists in Mass because it's a big platform, but then I'm going to miss people and they're going to get mad. But yo, it's a big scene out there going crazy, crazy.
You ever tap in with 1090 Jake?
Yeah, it's my boy.
Okay.
I hit 1090 Jake when you said there's no popular white rappers. I said, and you said 1090 Jake should be a rapper. I hit him and I said, bro, it's saying that you should be a rapper and I exist. This is crazy.
I seen he put that on his story. That's funny you said that, though.
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, bro, I don't even rap. I don't know why they said that. You know what I mean? But I told him to hit you. Because I know my guy over there hit you, but I was like, I got to double down with Adam. I need this interview, man.
No, as soon as I started checking the shit out, I was like, all right, I gotta get behind this.
Word. Appreciate you, bro.
For sure, man. Millyz.
Spell like 617.
Appreciate you, man. I'm gonna take you up on that Newport too, by the way.
Let's get it.
Millyz, No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Patreon. The patrons are on the screen right now. Like, comment, subscribe. NoJumper.com if you want to support.
And subscribe to my YouTube channel too.
Sub to his channel. You probably already subscribed to
Millyz.
this one. You've been here for a while. Go hit his shit up.
Yeah.
Spotify, all that.
All that.
Buy a t-shirt. Appreciate you, man.
Salute, bro.